That gives us a quorum to start. Okay.
Fabulous.
Okay, so, call to order. Please call to order.
7:06.
At 7:06, thank you. Mark, you want to take roll? Or Frank, you already have it there?
Yes, but secretary is still.
Hold on, I've already got it here, so I'll run through it real fast. Mark Galbraith? Here. Tina?
Here.
Margie?
Here.
John?
Here.
Bill? Here. Julie?
Yep.
Me? Ron?
Here.
Carol for Eric?
Here.
Okay. Aaron for Walter?
Yes, sir.
And Teresa for Elena?
Here.
Okay, that gives us 11. We have a quorum.
Beautiful, thank you.
You didn't call me.
Jack.
You didn't
You
call
didn't
me.
call
Frank.
Chris.
Oh, man. How could I miss?
And no Jack, huh?
He's on
Okay.
the other side.
Yeah, all right, we have 12. So
And Jack T. was
we're
on.
cooking with gas now.
Okay, so we have a quorum, so we're on. So we'll introduce guests this evening. And first, I'd like to introduce Bishop, and she can say a little bit about, 1 minute about yourself, Bishop, and what you're trying to do. But I got a call from the past president of CRA saying somebody was looking from Oakland, looking to start a CRA chapter in Berkeley and Oakland. And we were the closest proof of life. So I invited her today just to see kind of the things we talk about, what goes on, and then hopefully she can take that back with others to CRA and Oakland around here. So why don't you just, in 1 minute, just kind of give an idea to everybody.
Okay. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
My name is Bishop Dr. Uche Gilles, a lawyer from West Africa, Nigeria. And I'm here and I'm already part of America. I've been here since September, and I love Republican Party. I can't just say I like it, but I love it. Because anyway, it's been something good, it's something that has to do with God. I'm connected with it. And I happen to be the global Republican coordinator, connecting people globally to connect with the Republican Party on Zoom, on Facebook, Instagram, and all. Now we've already created 2 chapters, Berkeley and Auckland, to be meeting. We already got a place and we're going to be meeting after now. So I wanted to be here so I can get what to do, then it starts.
Great. All right, thank you. Well, welcome.
Thank you,
Welcome.
thank you.
And just to give you an idea, when I mentioned to you, Bishop, it takes 15 people to get a chapter started. She goes, I can get that like that.
Wow, that's incredible.
No, I can have 40 to start.
That's
You- Charlie? Charlie Seiler is not really as much a guest anymore.
Hey.
So actually, we'll come back to Charlie in a bit, actually, so sorry about that. Other guests in back, just introduce yourself, please, and maybe just
Hello, my name is Rafael Abdino, and this is my second time here. The last time I was in Freeway. So I like to learn and get involved in this fight, get to know people and know about what's the topics and the point you gonna do. I like to know more.
Great. Thank you.
Welcome back.
Yeah. And Joseph, about a minute to,
Hello everybody, I'm Joseph Shire, and I attended the last meeting, just found out about it just before that. Happy to know about it, happy to be here.
Thank you.
great, thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks, Jeff.
So, and for everybody,
What's the next?
is that, any other guests? I think that's it. Or Nick and Terry, I guess introduce yourself, those that don't know you. No, you can just say something, or not.
I'm glad to be here. I know most of you, so
They're pretty much
no
regulars.
further introduction when necessary.
Okay, great, thank you. After the last few meetings, I've had some comments on how the meetings have been. I invited comments. So I'm gonna take a little bit different structure, and a little more structure to it. So we have an agenda, and this is the bit for people that for the first time or a couple times. This is the business meeting of the committee. All the action, all the big conversations, all the hour phone calls, that happens during the month on the different committees as far as what you're talking about. So this will be agenda-driven, tight timing, not to go off and try and develop something new. That happens during the month on the committees. So tonight we'll go through it. I'll ask that if you're going to be getting into something to keep it to 2 minutes to the topic and keep it on topic. And I will, if you go off topic, I'll bring it back on topic. So the idea is just to have a nice, comfortable, tight meeting. Then we get done, we have at the end, we'll have some free talk because we should be right on schedule. So thank you for that. We shall get started. Let's see here. Okay, first would be approval of the February.
John, we have an invocation and a
Oh,
pledge.
jeez, thank you. Yes,
Okay,
thank you. Chris, would you mind doing the invocation?
I wouldn't mind.
Thank you.
And I'll remain seated. Let us pray. Please consider that there is indeed a God, creator of all, and from whom all blessings flow. Together, let us thank God for our many blessings and invite him to be here with us this day. Let us also consider that each of us was created by God, and as such, we are all his children. We are all brothers and sisters, regardless of our individual faith journeys or chosen religions. My brothers and sisters, if you are of good will, you are most certainly welcome here, and these prayers are for you. Your participation is vital and encouraged, as so it is written in Proverbs 29:2, that when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. When the wicked rule, the people mourn. Let us seek to be righteous as we begin exercising our authority, and may we consider all these things while representing the conservative voters of Marin County. Thank you all for being here today, and may the Lord continue to bless you. All this and more I pray in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Bill, could you lead us in the pledge?
All right. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'm going to start off with just a little, not everybody was at the convention, just give a little convention recap for those that weren't there and whatever stories might have been floating around. So after the debacle with our delegate situation, we had, I was at the chairs meeting on Friday and could not vote. And of course the first vote was a tie. So that vote made a tremendous amount of difference. And the people in behind all this, I think, knew that, and they had it counted. And they counted it precisely. So I give them a win on that. I don't like it, but I give them a win on that one. Saturday, we had the regional vice chairs, which is a big deal. That's where it's like such a big deal. You have to be there in person. There's no proxies. If you're not a delegate, you don't get to vote. And it's paper ballots, and you wait in line to do paper ballots. With our swing and their game, it was 15 the wrong way. So all of a sudden, ours looked pretty tough. And Tom Weissmiller was our guy, and we thought, he should have it. And then that happens, like, I was here, and I don't know what everybody else said, I was hearing one or two maybe on our side on the day of the vote. And it ends up, was it 15? Tom, what, 15?
Yeah, quite a margin.
Which I think goes to show paper ballots with the people who are supposed to be there had a surprising advantage. It wasn't just the little advantage to what you thought, it was like way beyond. So just a point taken there. So we got a chance to present our case on Friday afternoon. That went nowhere. Well, I shouldn't say it went nowhere because they said come back tomorrow afternoon. So we went back again at 5:30 on Saturday. So basically, the important votes for a lot of those delegates had already happened. They did give us back the chair and treasurer delegate, which was a surprise to many. They just don't do that. It must have been that egregious, they had to do something, because people are seeing the video at that point. It's out on other people's podcasts, and they must have, I don't know, my word, they must have been chained into doing something. So they gave us those back, but the value had already happened. After that, the votes were 400 or 500 votes differences, for the chairs.
And it was electronic voting, not on paper,
Right, that's right.
wireless devices.
Yeah, and just if you didn't see the one alert, somebody was taking a video of the big screen up there as it was tallying votes. it's somewhat unauthorized voter detected or something to that effect. Everyone's like, what the hell's going on here? So there's a little bit of disenchantment with the CAGOP for those that are new to the movement. The establishment, I guess, thinks it's quite fine the way it is, and they're fighting to hang on to it, as we've experienced. But a lot of people coalesce, and I think there'll be strong stuff coming out of it on our side, even though that parts of it didn't go the way we wanted. So be prepared for things coming up in other counties that we're, hopefully participate with them and they'll participate with us, because we have to, keep our alliances growing, those that want to fight the way we want to fight, because we've got a big fight ahead of us. So that was it on the convention and kind of the elephant in the room. Next, we'll go back to just approving the minutes of the prior meeting.
Okay, there's two meetings that I didn't get it on the agenda. We've got to approve the February 27th and the March 6th meeting minutes. So,
And both were emailed out.
but only one copy is provided today. You previously got the February 27th. And I don't know if anybody had.
I motion to approve February 27th.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any,
All in favor?
no,
There we go.
no, it's any conversation, any
Aye.
conversation.
Discussion.
Discussion's worth. Any discussion? Okay. With that, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. And then there's the March 6th. That was the Zoom.
That was the reconvened board meeting for the purposes of delegate appointments. I move that we approve the March 6th minutes.
I second.
Elena, any discussion? Let me ask, anybody opposed? Okay, since there are none opposed, the motion passes. Thank you. Tonight's agenda. Go down through and see if everything fits.
Do you have to call out Ms. Stallings?
Which one?
I'm sorry, I misspelled your name to you.
That's okay. Anne Brandon Straka,
Right, yeah.
No,
I made the
yeah.
decision on that to proceed instead of having it already on the print.
just checking, and the 9th is not the 1st, but the 9th.
Okay, August 9th.
Yes.
And what are we looking at?
Item 6 on old business.
It's
It's
already
changed.
not.
The date has, it was the 2nd, but the theater came back with the 9th.
And it's Saturday.
It is still a Saturday. I'm having to leave Star Trek.
So what's the date again?
August 9th.
August 9th,
August 9th. And it's Straka with an A, it ends with an A.
correct.
Okay, I blame that on autocorrect.
It wouldn't be first.
Any other changes to the agenda?
New business?
Nope, new business at the end.
Is it?
Okay, are there any objections to this agenda? Actually, we need a motion to approve the agenda. Sorry, still getting used to this.
I move that we approve the agenda as amended.
I second.
Any discussion? Are there any no votes?
I just wanted to comment, I know we have to approve the fair, we have some incidentals, but we don't have to prove 1750 because that's a donation.
Yeah.
So I think we should clarify that. We're not voting to approve 1750 because that's going to be donated by me and someone else.
It would just be
It would
To
be,
approve the
it would be
booth, just-
incidentals.
getting the book.
Incidentals.
It'd be for merchandise.
Yeah.
So what were we talking about, 500?
I just wanted to clarify that.
Why don't we change that value to 500?
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes
Merchandise.
sense, okay.
And that's an estimate for us procuring merchandise to sell at the booth while we're there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
correct, yeah.
And some swag if we need signs or anything
Yeah.
like that.
Okay, any other comments or suggestions? So with the agenda, with the $500 amount being put in for incidentals for the fair, on August 9th versus August 1st in the Napa event. Are there any no votes? Anybody opposed? Okay, so with that, the agenda passes and we're on to the business. Okay, so the first thing is that the dues things have been kind of a cluster with the setup with Anadot and with the state taking us back from the software. So it's starting to come together. I mean, I'm getting a lot of rejects as people are trying to make a payment. It comes back, so it's starting to get ironed out. So we're using April 29th by the next meeting. Everybody it should be fixed and everybody get their dues current. Would be appreciated.
And if anybody needs to know where they stand on the dues, I've got a table up here I can show you. And then expect one more hiccup on the dues forms. We're in the middle of changing websites. So there's a possibility there could be more hiccups. But I think we have it worked out. The big problem was the change of banks and of course them taking away access to our financial data and then restoring it. So
Frank, are dues $10 a month
yes,
for alternates?
members and alternates are $10 a month. Yes,
How to
associates are $25 a year. Ex officios get off scot-free. So
Alternates $10.
I might add that everyone is at liberty to pay or donate more than that. I donate $20 a month, at least. The last time I filled out my auto,
I think it was.
I have it on auto draw too, so I don't have to worry about
I think you're on 25.
it.
I think you're at 25.
Me?
no, he's 20.
Possible.
He's 20.
Oh, is he 20?
Yeah. By the way, I did change the form, so there are different amounts. There's a $10 amount, there's a $20 amount. So you don't have to use other. So I did make those changes.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's it on dues. Thank you, Frank. Go ahead.
Sorry, are we doing committee reports? You skipped.
Actually,
You know,
yes.
I did skip over that. Thank you. I got
It's
it.
kinda skipping
Once
around
again.
tonight. It's kind of
Okay, so we'll go to the committee reports. Thank you. Frank, you want to lead with?
Yeah, let's see if I can find it here.
Yeah.
This is, well, I think I sent everybody, did I send it out? A
Yeah.
committee report?
Yeah.
You can see how much we have in our bank account. We're kind of short of funds. But what we do have is this past weekend, the finance committee met and came up with a budget that, I don't know if it's on the, we actually have to approve this budget. And it's not on the agenda. Oops. But anyway, if you look at it, it's this thing. And the way it's constructed is we first put down the income that we think we're going to have, and then followed by the expenses. And it might be a little pie in the sky, but we're trying to, we tried to incorporate all of the events that you will see presented by the events committee. We've got a handful of them. And then we also have a look ahead one for next year, for February 2026. And the reason for that is if it's a Lincoln type dinner, we've got to secure a venue and a speaker this year. So it's going to be an expense this year. Everything else, we're going to have, it's like the Christmas party, some barbecues. The events committee will get into it, but we try to take a good whack at what our financial outlook is going to be. So on the expense side, we start with postage. What we're thinking here is to have a letter writing campaign, a hand letter writing campaign to big donors. I want to get a team together to, fill it out by hand, write it by hand, a real simple note asking for donations. And I will get a list of our biggest, most recent donors. That's in the financial data. So we will have to form a committee to do that. We're also going to reach out to some people directly. So anyway, I'm allowing $600 for that, for envelopes and stamps, I think. And we'd like to do that sooner than later. The next item is professional. Kelly Lawler for 6 months. I need help doing the state and federal compliance filings. I'm in way over my head on what's required for the FEC. FPPC I'm a little more comfortable, but FEC I'm a little worried. The big trick is when you get donations, what bank account does it go into? Does it go into our federal account? Does it go into our state account? All of that stuff is really important. If you get it wrong, you get fined. So I want to try to avoid that. And the most expedient thing for me to do is to hire Kelly Lawler. I've contacted several other people, and they either don't do FEC, or they don't do FPPC, or they don't do political committees, central committees. So she's the one that, she's familiar with the state and federal filing, and she's familiar with the ISB, and she does give classes. She charges $350 a month. I'm looking for upwards of 6 months of her help. I think will be what it takes for me to get my training wheels off. The next item is web and email. Email is the most expensive one, but we need to have that. That's how we communicate with all the Republicans in the county. Web is about $600. WordPress is, we'll say $1,000 for the web, and then $2,000, maybe even a little more. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. It was $600 for WordPress, $2,400 for Constant Contact, if you want to keep them separate. And then you can see an expense for furniture. We're buying furniture for the fair. It's cheaper to do that than get storage space to store it and use the crap we had in the old storage. Meetings are $150, $200 a month. So
Yeah, if I can look back to that.
that's $2,100 for that. Events, we just tallied up the cost, all the money we would have to outlay for a variety of events, including the Christmas party, the Napa event with Julie, picnics, movie night, and then I've got one thing for Toast. I think we ought to have another evening event at Toast. People like that. That's $4,000. And then, of course, I'm just shooting from the hip, the Lincoln Dinner Cruise, $10,000. What I'm thinking there is a boat, like a hornblower yacht. In the wintertime, the water's like glass. It's the best time to go on a dinner cruise on the bay. And we'd have to get a speaker, probably some candidate for office might have to lay out $5,000. So my estimate is $15,000 for that Lincoln dinner. We will probably pull in twice that. So,
Sheriff Bianco's free.
what's
I
the,
think the candidates might be free.
Well, the Sheriff Bianco would probably literally jump on that.
well,
Oh,
that'd be great. So just for planning purposes, worst case scenarios. So we're looking at a surplus and deficit of a surplus of about $11,000. So again, this is all shooting from the hip. We kind of based it on what we saw over the past 2 years. They didn't have a lot of success with events the last 2 years. We hope to beat them on that one. They actually lost money on the Christmas party, the 2023 Christmas party. They took a beating on that one. They spent way too much for it. What they spent? It was over $12,000.
I was gonna say low teens.
Yeah, so,
And none of us went.
well,
That's what it is.
yeah,
Well, their venue was not nice.
okay, that's it for any questions on our proposed budget? This is to replace the operating budget that we approved last time, by the way.
So an update.
Yeah, it's an update.
Is your financial
Do we need
report
a motion?
covered?
Yeah, I think, only comment is maybe Teeth and Aaron and Drew, are you on there? Maybe we get together, Zoom or whatever, and talk about events.
Yeah,
And we can,
we definitely do because, well, I'll explain when
Yeah.
I do mine.
yeah,
She still has her report to do. Don't
Okay.
take a look.
that's right.
So
But I'm finance, so I'll be part of.
Yeah.
So maybe we want to delay the approving this budget until the
Yeah, that's a good.
events committee takes a whack at
Because
it?
nothing's happening that fast anyway. so-
Oh, yeah. We're taking a whack at it. That's.
Aaron, for events?
I'm just gonna basically repeat what Frank already told her.
Okay.
Do you want,
Okay.
do you want?
You have a report here that I got
Do you
from
want,
Keith.
I can, do you want?
So
Yeah. Who's
in that package, you've got something that looks like
I know,
that.
I send it out like.
I don't know about that.
Well, the words are different.
Why don't you just go through the highlights?
Just do it, just do it, Aaron.
Yeah, so we have on May 3rd, we're gonna be doing the barbecue.
And somebody mentioned 100 days for a different event, but that's close to 100 days.
Yes, it is.
Right, I like that
April 30th is
idea,
100 days.
calling that the 100 days.
Yeah.
Maybe even getting a banner made from your neighborhood, just to fire it up. Anyway, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Oops. And that's the one at Big Ears, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, Julie's event that she's helping put together for our involvement in Napa, another fall barbecue, the Christmas gala, and that's right now. I guess there's some other ideas that have been jotted down that I'm not really privy to, so
Mhm.
that's where we're at right now. But right now, what we do have on the calendar is May 3rd.
Okay, good. And that's a big facility, it holds 200, and it's right on the water at McNair's. So it's quite a nice spot.
Okay, so the question there is, we need to start advertising that now. So the question is, how much do we want to charge for tickets?
So let me just piggyback on that because I literally sent out this report. So Aaron's going to be the chair, and I just have this information in my head because we talked about it with the executive committee. So that's what we were talking about is our price point for the picnic is probably somewhere between $20 and $40. And lunch would be hot dogs, hamburgers, chips, salad, dessert, keep it simple, soda and water, and then bring your own beer, or wine. And this would be a fundraiser, so we do want to charge. We want to make more than we spend, obviously. And we want to bill it as such so that people won't be like, well, why am I only paying, why am I paying $40 for hamburgers and hot dogs? Well, because you're supporting the GOP. And also this is Trump's 100-day party. So that's kind of where that comes from. And the things that we need volunteers for, we're going to need volunteers for setup, cleanup, shopping, food prep, and cooking. And we will put that out. We could put that out on like a signup.com for people to sign up for that. So that would be and then can I just go over the fair too? Okay. The fair is going to be from July 2nd to the 6th. And it is a large 10 by 20 booth. It's on the corner.
It's not exactly, let me clarify that, because I did the app.
Oh, okay.
The way we did it is 2 booths.
Right.
I've asked for a corner, but you had to reserve a corner booth and the one next to it.
Oh, I
And
see.
they're 2 10 by whatever.
10 by 10.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah. And the stock base $17.50, it's gonna be $14 something.
Oh, good.
So it's less, so we're now done with that. We're not approved yet. I did speak to them.
Okay.
They told me, whatever, I'm supposed to hear by April 1st. There's insurance that supposedly the GOP, according to Tom Montgomery, they will give it to us for free.
Okay.
Because otherwise it would have $150 to get
Right.
the insurance. So, but we're not guaranteed where you are. I put in my 3
I know you-
choices and then they can just do whatever they want.
And they do.
Okay, well, then we'll just put that for next time until
Yeah.
we know for sure.
That we have it.
Okay, that sounds good. Can I
So-
go ahead?
So for the May 3rd, our kids, 20 to 40, we've got
Kids.
that granular on.
I think kids should be free, that's
Yeah.
my opinion.
Usually we make that.
Define kids.
Yeah, I'd say
Up to
Age
12 or 17.
high school or younger.
18
That's what I
under
want.
16, maybe.
The 16.
I know they have a lot
16
of.
or younger, right?
16 are hungry, man. Teenagers.
If they drive in on their own, then
And they have to pay.
they're on their own.
If they can drive, they charge more.
If they're pre-registered as Republican, they can come in for free.
Nice. Ooh, that would be good to have the forms there.
Was that the last item?
Yeah.
Okay, Mark, you have a question for the events committee?
To the budget which Greg announced.
Okay.
I think that one line, maybe I missed something, but one line is very significant, I think, is missing. And this is political donations, which would signify participation of this organization in political campaigns which we, as a committee, support. Okay? This is very important. This will be in new business, which, as John suggested, but there is a big...
I think, clarify, we talked about it, part of the donation is for, if you notice, he has a line for candidates, $5,000.
Which one?
At the very
In the
end. You have the candidate, right?
Yeah, but
5,000.
this is not.
But
This is
we just labeled it donation. I'm just gonna tell you, when I did art and accounting, and I didn't, we
Then
didn't
it's
want to
then
go
just
into minutia.
verification.
We want donation.
Okay.
Okay,
So this is just for the clarification. So
Okay.
for candidates and for election integrity and for every political organization or campaign, we as a committee
That is
support.
the
Thank you.
plan.
Come back to that in
That's the
business.
plan, Mark, that's the
Okay.
plan.
Next committee.
Julie had a question.
Oh,
Well, I wanted to, so I gave a few people this flyer. This is for the Napa event. Unfortunately, I found out about 3 hours ago that Sheriff Bianco has withdrawn from the event. I'm not sure, other than the flyers that have been made and the website. Brandon and Dinesh both did send me emails yesterday how thrilled they are that we're pulling this off. So 450 total seats are going to be happening. 100 seats, whether we sell them or Napa sell them, we get the profit.
and when can we start selling tickets?
As soon as I work with him on getting
So
Annabelle,
literally, we're ready to go.
we're waiting on
Okay.
this work.
Okay.
So it's ready to rock.
Thank you. Mark, you were asked to be chairman of the precinct committee, which was going to entail vetting candidates, trying to hustle up candidates. If people call in candidates, you would kind of be their first contact to walk them through, along with other type of promotional items for candidates. And I don't know if you're ready to say anything more than that tonight, because we just were talking about it recently. But the main thing is Mark will be a first point of contact, because we don't need the money for Mark unless we get people coming in the door that want to run for office and are looking to us and are good people. Because we can't take the people we don't think really shouldn't even be there. I mean, it's a tough fight no matter what. But if we don't even think they shouldn't even be doing it no matter what, then we can't back somebody like that with money. So we want to be able to vet. Mark?
Yeah, thank you, John, and Kurt, we talked about this about 7 hours ago. So, this is a team effort. Taking on something like this, after I talked to John, I received an email from Frank, and I think it had 12 attachments, Frank. So,
A few,
there's a whole,
sorry.
this is a team effort, folks. So, there's no I in team, as they say, right? So, so I look forward to all of our partners out there. Because also I need everybody else's experience of who they know, of who's also interested on to take on these positions.
Great,
So,
thank you.
Thank you, John.
And Teef has volunteered in that same vein to be, I'll say, campaign manager to those that come through that don't have one.
Right.
They're wondering what's the first step I do, and she's been through it enough that she can direct them or help them or whatever the case may be. So, anything on that, Teef, or is that pretty much it for the month?
I'll just say that if this is really about talking to people asking them, if they express to you their frustration, you say, hey, have you thought about running for office? We've got a team behind you. We can put you front and center. We can, do websites for you. We can do writing for you. We can do your social media, and we've done that enough so that we have that behind us. So and we're talking about from water board, because Frank would have won if we had actually walked the precinct. He would have. And we didn't do it because we just were like, well, somebody's running and that's great. No, we're gonna put an effort even from dog catcher all the way up to Marin supervisors. So if you have somebody that is interested, please make sure that they talk to us.
Great, thank you.
I want to point out the multifaceted nature of precinct committee. It's a lot. So it's finding candidates, supporting them, getting them elected. It's also getting people registered to vote. And it's also getting people out to vote. Those last two things are very geographical. And I think what you need to identify is where are most of the Republican votes coming from? And we need to concentrate on those precincts. And it's, like I say, it's very, so one of the tables that I gave you is I lumped together all of the precincts that were close to one another that had the most votes in that area. I wanted to get, 55% of the votes in this area came from these precincts. So just to give us something to focus on. So for either beating the bushes to find candidates, or to get out the vote drives, or getting voter registrations. Voter registration used to be a big part of the precinct committee, but now it's not, because 97% of eligible voters in Marin County are already registered, thanks to Motor Voter. So we already have a very, very high percentage of registered voters. The only thing that we could do is maybe get people to switch parties. So that would be the only real effort to the tabling events they're called.
Right.
And the way I see
And
that,
Also with the voter registration, I've looked at the data a little bit, and there's a lot of independent voters out there that are actually conservative. But they do that because they don't want, their neighbors to,
Just
their tires. or
one other
anything
thing
like
to
Yeah.
mention in that regard, if we get people to re-register Republican, this committee gets credit for that. I think it's like every 2,500, we get another delegate that gets appointed to the Marin, or the Cal GOP. So it's, that effort is kind of important.
And one more quick thing, comment for good of the community. You can literally now, in less than 5 minutes, change your voter registration on your cell phone. I've personally done it. You don't have to go to the DMV, you don't have to go to Secretary of State. There's misinformation. It's very fast, very quick, and you get notified of it. So,
great, thank you, Mark.
you bet.
Mark?
Yeah, do you have access to the registered voters?
To the,
Marine County registered voters?
Yes.
Do you have the?
yes,
voters?
I have, well, they change all the time. The most recent
Yeah.
one I have is from mid-December of last year. We're trying to get one from the county, because this is a qualified committee. He gets the latest copy free. They're not agreeing to that, but I pointed out the state law to him. It says right here, you give us this data free. The jokers that used to run this committee never did that. But we need to push for that, because otherwise it's $100 a pop. And I'd much rather get it free than pay $100 a pop.
Yep.
So, and it's,
Yeah. So my question came because at the convention, I was talking to some of the people who had the booths, who do the voter ID and marketing, etc. So we looked through their database, which is the GOP database. So as we talked about, we were looking for where are those 950,000 Indian people missing in California, right? So they narrowed down, they looked in here, and what came to people who have voted, only the database. People who are never voting, which is a big chunk in our county itself. And talking back and forth to a lot of people there, I came to the conclusion that how do we harvest those people? Because that's the goal. Because if we are just a clone Republican independence, then we miss a bigger goal.
Let's follow up and talk about that after. 'Cause
Yeah,
that's going to be a
How do we
significant.
harvest those? Because
How do you track, you said you get credit if you are able to switch the vote. How can you track? that
Because there's a
you-
certain registration form
Okay.
that somehow it tracks.
Okay.
So you can't just go down any form, it has to be on a certain form,
Okay.
and they track it for that.
actually, if you pick up a fistful of forms at the Civic Center,
Uh-huh.
you get people to register, give them to us. We have 3 days to turn them in,
Oh, I didn't-
and then we get credit for it that way.
Most people
So-
do it online at this point.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's, I would keep a log of that. Say you're tabling, you got people, I would get their name and take credit for it. We could push it to the CRP and see if they accept
Actually,
it.
that's what the Santa Clara guy did, the chair of Santa Clara. He took a historical database and the current database and merged them and showed that they had 5,000 additional registrations.
Okay,
And that's
That-
where he
that-
got his extra delegate.
that works, so.
So even if they didn't recruit them personally,
Yeah, he had a whole formula we don't have to spend time on now,
Yeah.
carved out to show that that was nothing anybody else did except for that.
Was that Mike Lenore?
No, Dave Johnson. Anyway,
Okay. Oh, all right, okay.
okay, so Charlie Snyder is going to be our communications chairman. And Charlie, I don't know if you have much to say as far as newsletters, he's going to take those over, other promotional things, maybe quick hits. going out, but Charlie, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Well, yeah, I'm Charlie Seiler. We're just going to aim to improve the communications, and we're going to try to things that are more regular and much shorter than they have been in the past.
No, thank God.
Lovely.
Thank
Man of his word, man of his word.
you. He
We
kept
have,
it short too.
Yeah, good.
we have a couple avenues. I think you're talking about email. I'd also like you to consider doing blog posts too, because our website's gonna have that capability. And I'm a big advocate of that because people can respond to the blog posts. You get journey. So
Right.
I'll give you access to the site. It's coming along pretty fast.
Okay.
Question. On the note of communications, how up to date is the database of our Republican?
Everything that they gave us, we have, and the few that have added since, we've added to. So we got their core data.
Is it up to date?
What's the last?
Well, that there's 22,000 registered, there's 4,800 on the list.
Oh,
So,
okay.
but like for the CRA, I had 17,000 on the list and only 3,000 open. So just because you have a big number doesn't mean, it's.
Just gonna throw this out as keep this in your head. When you're doing real estate farming, there are, through the title companies, I can boil down demographics. I can do age, I can do location. A lot of the older Republicans reside in San Anselmo, San Rafael, Fairfax. They're past the age of 70 and no one's communicating with them, and I think we can get mailing labels. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So are you talking about a fundraiser campaign? So that
Yes, but, and what Mark said, there may need to be, if I'm understanding correctly, kind of a general category of just donate to Marin Republican Central Committee, Marin Republicans. Here's that link. You want to throw $25 our way? Just doesn't have to be connected to an event.
Well, they're not, the donations are not connected to an event.
The what was that?
They're not connected to an event.
It's
I
just
worked
kind of-
with him, it's general. I didn't want to get nitty gritty, we're just taking donations. And that they're being used for events, they're being used for candidates, they're being used for any furniture, we have to find out what they're doing.
But I would say the whole driver is for candidates.
Yeah,
We raise money
of course.
for the events to get stuff for the candidates. We do whatever to get money for the candidates, to move the
And
candidates.
fundraising, and part of the event is fundraising for candidates. So all this is about candidates, this to you.
Julie?
Okay.
Question on communications, social media, our Facebook, Twitter, X. What is
We have,
the
we have,
spread
Inst-
we
we
gotta
have
get?
Instagram.
Do we have the
and,
passwords?
Yeah,
Because there's some pretty defamatory stuff left up there
okay,
by
yeah, we do have passwords for
previous communications.
Facebook and,
Yep.
Facebook and Twitter. Tom gave me somewhat of a combination I wasn't able to crack, so I don't know if we're gonna be able to get that or not. I gotta see, it worked on Instagram, and the same thing, he said do them on all of them.
It's very important to add TikTok to this because this is a platform for youngsters.
Exactly.
We need
They don't use
youngsters
Facebook.
because
No, Facebook is for 30 and
We
older.
already have Facebook, we already have Facebook.
Right, but
They use TikTok.
No, TikTok.
Oh, TikTok.
We need it. Yep.
They use TikTok. I asked, I've been pulling.
what else? X as well, and then Truth Social.
And Instagram.
I'm willing to offer my expertise in the world of social media.
Nice.
Just
Thank you.
pencil that in somewhere.
Why don't we have an ad hoc committee for that to kickstart social media?
Communications.
And have her be the chair.
Well, Charlie is the communications chair.
She could work
It
with
should
Charlie.
be a
So
subcommittee.
communications and social media.
He would be
Nice
the
and
right hand. Because it needs to be a unified message.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
They can work together.
Yes, of
That
course they
makes
can,
sense.
but I'm just saying, he's the communications chair.
There's your
Okay.
committee, those two.
Those two.
Okay, can you make sure she gets the passwords, your
Yeah.
name passwords that Tom gave you, see if she can crack into it? I don't think Tom has, I think Sarah's got it.
I just want Frank to state for the record that anything we post on social media or on the website needs to be approved by the executive committee. Thank you.
And hopefully not some long diatribe.
Okay, and then next would be for the Election Integrity Committee, which will be back in action. Chris Carpiniello has volunteered to chair that committee.
Shocker.
So, anything to say yet, Chris? or-
Well, it's really, for me, it's gonna be tough to follow Frank. But one thing I think I'm good at is creating committees. And I want to help at least to get it up and running, get it started, and maybe find the right person to run it. But I also would like to help all of the committees here, and one of the biggest things I want to instill on each of us here is we all constantly need to be recruiting. Always. You meet new people, get them in, you know. We need people, we're going to wind up with 6, 7, 8 subcommittees, and the people in this room can't be doing all the work of all those committees. We need to grow the committees. So recruit, and anybody who's chair of a committee hasn't done it before, I'm happy to work with you, help you. But recruiting is the single most important thing about growing a committee. Once we grow the committee can be effective. So I implore the new chairs to grow the committee, okay, and for us all to help them to grow the committees, okay?
That means getting names, phone numbers, emails from people, and knowing that they will hear from us. We want to add them to the email database. So hopefully we'll all get some business cards coming up soon.
Once we get the logo.
Okay.
Which is
Another thing to
not
talk
on the
about.
agenda.
Any other committees? I might have forgotten.
Well, actually, the voter registration is its own separate committee.
Really?
I'll do that.
Okay. Thank you.
Just a short question. What is the name of the committee for elections? For us supporting elections? Do we have?
That
The
would-
Lorraine
that would
County
go
Republican
through-
Central Committee is the name of it. That's what this committee does.
Yep.
Are you
That's
talking
our
about,
whole committee
you
member.
talking about the
We all
campaigns?
that-
You talking about the politician?
I'm talking about local elections, okay.
Right, the politician, the person running for office.
It's I'm talking about local, non-partisan offices. I'm talking about local elections.
Yeah,
They-
that's,
Mark,
I say that's gonna
Mark.
go through Mark then.
That's gonna go
Through
through.
Mark's precinct.
Precinct.
Now,
And
the precinct.
precinct.
The committee with Mark.
The committee, Mark.
Thank
All right, next on the agenda is some bylaw changes. And Frank?
Number 2.
Yeah, you're skipping around here a lot.
Well, I thought we already went through the
Yeah,
budget.
No, we
Oh,
have
number 2, Jeez, number 2, yeah.
Yeah.
Margie's chomping at the bit.
Margie gave us her resignation this week, and we appreciate the effort that she did to get it started because it was a little more than was expected and described in the job description. So thank you for holding on like you did. So thank you very much.
Mind you, Margie is not resigning from the committee, just as
As secretary.
secretary. Thank you.
So,
So we need a new secretary.
nominations for secretary.
I nominate Teef Gibbs.
I second.
We have a nomination for Teef. There's a second. Any others? Anyone? Anyone? Anything to say, Teef? Make everybody knows you.
Sure, I'll just say a really quick thing here. So, you know, we got elected, we started back over a year ago. And when we decided to go for this committee and we campaigned and we got 15 out of the 21 people elected. And it was a lot of hard work and everybody worked really well together. And we knew that there was going to be a fight to get this committee. And we had to wait almost a year. And then the shenanigans that got pulled that caused us to lose our delegates, we knew that was going to happen. And we had practiced and we'd been meeting and we'd done scripts and, you know, Margie was amazing to step up into this position, knowing that it was going to be an interim position because I ran for Congress, not for the committee. And then all of the stuff that happened, and we just came back from the CAGOP, and I just want to say that I am so looking forward to working with this group because without these guys and their perseverance and their steadfastness and their commitment to getting our delegates back, we would not be here. We'd be having to still deal with possibly having another organizational meeting on Thursday via Zoom that Jack would control. And so I am just so pleased to be here and be with this committee, and I just think everybody here deserves a big wet kiss on their lips.
Thank you, Chief.
Well, she's got my vote.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is she on the committee, or don't you have to be on the committee to be an officer?
No, not according to the bylaws that were approved at the January 30th
You
meeting.
don't have to be on the committee.
Yeah, you can be an alternate or an associate.
And she's
Okay,
my alternate.
so, anyone opposed to Teef for secretary? And with no opposition, Teef's vote carries, unanimous consent. Congratulations, Teef.
Madam Secretary.
Get me out of here.
No, you're fine.
What are you doing?
We're playing musical chairs.
Yeah.
There you go.
You get all these wonderful notes now.
Now down to the bylaw change.
Oh, I'm sorry I didn't give everyone a hard copy, but I did email you copies of the bylaws. And the standing rules I was able to redline. The bylaws, there was too many extensive changes. The first thing I did is I dumped it into ChatGPT and said, simplify it and shorten it. And it did a really good job reorganizing it, making it make more sense. It shortened it appreciably. But then I added a couple things. There's a couple big changes that I made. And these came about over the past, what happened to us over the past few months. Number one, the big change is we are going to take our seats the April after the primary election. We're going to hard code that into our bylaws. We're going to have the organizational meeting in January, like we've always had it before. To qualify for additional delegates, there's actually two categories of additional delegates. The chair gets some, and the committee gets some. Or the chair qualifies for some, and the committee qualifies for some. So to have a rent, to have a precinct committee, all of those give the committee additional delegates. So we want to maximize those. As long as you face voters on the primary ballot, that's how our members are elected. We qualify to get appointed delegates, the committee. The chair just straight up gets a minimum of 4. There's some other things, he can get additional delegates if we qualify in certain ways, but we get a bare minimum of 4. Now, but he's got to be elected in the December or January following the presidential election. So we're going to take our seats in April. If any board officers lose their seat, they're going to get replaced. The vacancy will be filled by the normal mechanism. We'll go all the way to the following January with essentially the same board and then have another election. So this is going to happen, remember the members get elected every 4 years, the board gets elected every 2 years. So it sounds a little bit crazy, but it turns out we could have done that last year. We could have insisted that we take our seats in April and then we made the mistake of thinking we had to have the organizational meeting right away. We didn't want to do that because we could lose delegates. So that's one big change.
Could you please repeat that?
Okay, so every 4 years there's a primary, presidential primary. That's when we go on the ballot and we face voters and we get elected. The April after that, we take our seats. That's now specified in this revised bylaw. What stays the same is we wait another 10 months to have our organizational meeting when we elect officers, okay? So the logic behind that is we still have the same leadership through a presidential election period, okay? We have new members, but essentially the same officers. So this is compatible with the Cal GOP bylaws.
Question. What happens to the people that did not win?
So like
And
Sarah,
they're-
she would have dropped off, she would have no longer been a member, she would have had to resign her board position. The existing board would have had to, actually the existing committee would have to elect her replacement.
So she would have been off the committee.
She would have been off, and then we would have had to elect her replacement.
Doesn't she keep her seat though?
No,
You
she's,
said that if you're not a member, you can still be an executive.
no, if you are a, no matter what, you have to be elected to get on the executive committee. The change we made is you don't have to be a regular member or an ex officio. We are allowing alternates and associates to run for a seat on the executive committee and hold a seat on the executive committee. So,
So she would have stepped down.
Right.
She would have been off the committee completely.
like, so would her alternate. Any of her alternates that she appointed, and that's still the case. If you resign from the committee, you are resigning your alternate as well. They go. So,
But don't we have a group alternate now?
yeah, but it's still, they're appointed by one person. So we have a pool, but they're appointed by one person. If that person resigns, that alternate's gone.
So this could in effect also affect the executive committee, because if that person who didn't win has to step down completely, then you then have to have somebody else run for that executive committee position.
Right, so the way it is now, say the chair resigns. The executive committee can appoint a temporary chair, but the next regular meeting, the committee has to elect another chair, okay? If it's another position like secretary, like we just had, the executive committee doesn't get to appoint a temporary secretary. We have to wait until the next regular meeting, elect a replacement.
In this particular instance, if the 15 people had taken over and Sarah had been gone,
Yeah.
and let's see who else would have been gone. I think just her on the executive committee.
Yes.
But then we would still have the situation where we would have 15 people against the 9.
Yes.
So ostensibly, we could potentially have kicked off the executive committee and re-elected a new executive committee, which is
That's
generally.
really hard. That's like you're getting a two-thirds vote territory to do that.
Okay,
So,
I'm just wondering, because that could present an issue where all of a sudden you have just had a new executive board by.
Yeah.
Because the one issue we have to be aware of is the Breonna Society could run against us.
Yeah, but it's less than 4 years.
Yeah.
They likely will.
That's right, 3 years.
They probably will run
Yeah, in
against
3
us.
years.
And if they get on the committee, you realize if they get elected, they're on the committee.
We better get that.
Well,
If we
Well,
decide to have an election.
the best way to not worry about the Breonna Society is to be successful. You know, so we've got to grow the party, we've got to get people elected. That if we do that, it's going to make it more difficult for an outside group to take over the committee.
Clarification.
Mark?
So, if I understood this amendment correct, it means that every elected member of this committee will serve until April 2029. Is it correct, Frank?
Yes.
And therefore, in April, new people would come and old people shall go. At that,
Yes.
Unless they're re-elected.
Yeah.
right, at that moment.
Yeah. So it's important to make this distinction.
And what's-
Wait, let me make this point. This is what they call a discontinuous body. Every member gets reelected every 4 years. It's like the House of Representatives. Every 2 years, all of them get elected again. The Senate is a continuous body. Only a third of them get elected. So we start fresh. That's why we made the argument, we're a new assembly, we can have our own agenda, our own bylaws, blah, blah, blah. So,
I didn't finish, I'm sorry. Okay, this is clear. Now, what's happened if the officers of old committee, in our case, our committee, are not elected to serve in the new committee, which is coming in 2029.
Then we replace them. And then we have an organizational meeting in January.
But it will be only in January.
So,
So.
no.
We just elected
No,
T for the
No, no, no,
I
no.
ask clarification, how committee will work from April to January with the chair who is not elected.
Okay. Just like right now, if, say all of us resigned right now, this new executive committee, we all resigned, you would have to vote, elect replacements. And then again in January of 2027, there's going to be another election for the executive committee. So that's the key. We always have to have an election for chair in December or January following the presidential election. Then we qualify for delegates.
But between April and January, Mark, if there is vacancies here, the committee will fill them, and there will be temporary replacements here until the organizational
So
meeting.
is it correct that if the chair has not been elected, in April, he will stop being the chair?
Correct.
Is that
Correct.
correct?
Yes.
Yes, Bill?
So we're doing this in April to follow a March primary.
Yes.
If they move the primary again.
Well, it's only 4 years. It's only the presidential ones.
But they moved the primary, didn't they move the
Yes.
primary?
They moved it
They
once.
did.
So
They did.
I think the wording should be following the presidential
That's a good
primary.
point, that's a good point.
In 30 months, or 30 days following the, whatever.
That's
So
a-
it's the language.
Is the
That's
June,
right.
is the June the new go-to now for next year? Or is that?
Are they proposing that?
I saw June for next year.
I don't know, but just about everything is up
You're
for.
probably right, that's a good point, they could change it.
Yeah.
You're right.
At the next regularly scheduled committee meeting following the
Yeah,
Presidential.
primary.
That's what you should do, that's a good point.
That's easy to reword. I can
So
do
we
that.
will have two elections of executive committee if it's not elected.
If they're not elected, yes. If they're
In
not elected,
April
yes.
and then in January.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
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 Okay.
Okay, so but we will not name the meeting in April if we need to replace the chair as organizational meeting. We simply.
No,
No, sir.
because you lose delegates.
Right, we simply substitute the chair who has not been elected with this person
Correct.
whom we elected. And then in January, we'll have a organizational meeting and again re-elect. the-
So the difference is, if it happens in April, it's a vacancy. It creates a vacancy.
Correct.
In January after a presidential primary, it's a new office, it's a new term.
Yep.
So that's the distinction.
If I done find something, there was a vacancy, she
All right,
died.
so please check the bylaws between now and next month because that'll be a big vote. Coming
There's
in.
more.
Oh, okay.
But it might be better if you just, if you have questions, you can ask me. So another thing that I've made very clear is that the committee gets to appoint delegates, and they have to be approved. If the chair makes appointments that are not approved by the committee, it's considered that he resigned. And then he is no longer chair, he cannot take his delegate position as chair. It's a very, we want to punish a chair that does that, or if an old chair appoints delegates to the new committee, he too is automatically resigned. We want to make sure that what they did in Alameda doesn't happen here. So,
And
it's,
what's happened to us will be happening again.
right, we want to,
Amen.
so if Jack did that, he would be bumped as a member, he couldn't be chair, he couldn't take that delegate position. So, and then there are some changes to the standing rules to be a little more compatible with that. And all of this started with, Mark recommended that we clarify member standing with the dues payments. And I reworded that to be compatible with these changes. I'm gonna have to reword it one more time to make it compatible with the suggestions that Bill made. But, take a look at these. I sent them to you tonight. And if you have questions, I'm happy to answer them. And I think they're a substantial improvement. So,
And I will tell you, every time we had to go somewhere, every single first question was, what's in your bylaws? And then maybe if you're talking to a different county, talking to somebody from the state, talking to somebody from the moon, the first thing they would ask is, what's in your bylaws?
I do want to bray about one little victory we had over Jack. He got up and argued that none of us were members because he didn't swear us in. And they ended up telling him, no, your bylaws and state law says we're members after the election. And they shut him down. He's been feeding us that line since last March.
It's very important discussion about bylaws. And I want to bring this issue, as already brought it into executive committee. It's very important issue, I think, and I might be wrong. What is this issue? Frank insisted that this committee is Republican Party of Marin County. And I believe, and I have grounds to think and to be sure that this is incorrect. The Republican Party of Marin County, according to all documents I studied, in terms of history of Republican Party and what is Republican Party, is all members of Republican Party residing in Marin who, let me finish please, I'll be short, who elect this committee to govern efforts of this, all people of Republican people of Marin. And this has been reflected vaguely, but it has been reflected in old bylaws, in previous bylaws. But I want you to think about the situation and with our intention to bring all Republicans of this county to participate.
Okay, thank you, Mark. That's good. And that conversation or that topic has come up, I've heard a little bit here, it's splitting hairs in my mind. And it's not on the priority list, it's down the way. So why don't you put together some of your backup? Put together some of this, that, and the other thing, instead of, trying to explain it to everybody here. Just type it out where you say, this says it's the Republican Party, this says it's the Central Committee, this says it's GOP and Marin.
I sent it to executive committee ignored it, I sent it again.
Okay, please send it again.
And I asked you to respond.
Send it again.
I asked you to respond.
Maybe it's important there's some clarification here. This group is the one that's recognized by Cal GOP, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
If I might, just Mark, based on what you said, there could be, just to be more specific and more clear, there could be a change to the bylaws. Maybe instead of writing up all your resources and what you found, write up a proposed change to the bylaw, which can be submitted at the next month, and then it will be voted at the following month. Correct?
Thank you.
I tend to agree with him now. It's really, what he's suggesting is more inclusive. The Marin Republican Party is all registered Republicans of Marin County. This committee represents them. That's the distinction. So the Marin County Republican Party is all Republicans. This committee represents them.
This is not splitting.
Okay, so the next item on the agenda is, we were talking about it briefly a bit ago, is recruiting. As we go into the next.
John, sorry.
For
Yeah,
you.
we have some proposed we have to approve some money.
You have to approve
Yeah, we have to
that.
go back.
We have
Keep
some money.
skipping
We
around.
skipped over
No,
4
we
and
did,
5.
we did that at the beginning. We did all.
No, we approved the budget, we didn't approve each
Number four,
individual,
we have to approve the money.
the individual.
Oh, I thought approving the budget's approving the money. So,
But
sorry.
that was a proposed budget. This is specific dollars, which
So this is proposed.
is part of that
Okay.
proposal.
And there's a caveat
So
to it.
for the 450 on the WordPress. So do we have to vote on that then, do you think?
Yes.
And
Is there a motion to?
Just a question first, if I might. Frank, there was WordPress, I think you had budgeted 3,000 for the year. For
No,
what?
that was,
Email and website.
That's website and,
Website and WordPress?
yes.
Both?
Yes,
So this
email
450,
and
The
website.
450 is for the website.
right, so this 450 is part of that 3,000,
Correct.
Yes.
And the total of which we would expect to pay for the year for WordPress?
Is
Or will there be other
450.
charges from WordPress over the year?
This is for this year.
That's for the whole, takes care of WordPress for the
Constant
year,
contact is the big expense.
and it comes off the total of that 3,000 for, in the proposed budget.
So I haven't asked for money for constant contact. I think that's already in the proposed budget, and I think we've been paying for that automatically already. So, so this is an additional expenditure. This is additional money that, and we already have a website. Once I switch it over, I'm going to try to get a refund from Wixcut.com. But we have to have a functioning alternative first. So I need $450 to do that.
Okay, so is there a motion to spend the 450?
I so move.
Second.
Okay, Chris and Julie. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? With none opposed, the motion passes. Unanimous consent. Thank you. Next for the fair, the
No, that one.
500 for
500
merchandise,
for
we modified
incidentals.
it. Yeah.
A question on that? That sounds very slim to me, but you're just throwing out a ballpark right now.
which you got.
But what do you have in mind for
Merchandise.
bling?
So we're at the
swag?
booth, we need, bling is my thing, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do a lot of promotions for the real estate company, and I know it's costly. That's not gonna be getting pens, $500. So it depends on what the goal is. Are we letting people walk away with some souvenir from?
No, it's not, we're gonna
Oh,
sell it.
so it's going to be sold.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're thinking like baseball caps and t-shirts.
Yeah, that's very.
That's not gonna
slim.
go
That number is very
far.
slim.
I think also we will have some like flag pins to give away, like we'll do some fun, you know, like a
500
spinny
not
thing.
enough, they're saying.
Not even close.
Not- no.
But what we don't want to do is get stuck with a bunch of odd-sized t-shirts. That's what we're trying to avoid.
Might be a tote bag.
Or
Tote
things
bag
that don't have sizing.
Very, t-shirts and sweatshirts massively expensive. We print them every year. A cheapo will cost you 10, 12
Yeah.
per. Sweatshirt costs you 20 to 32.
Yeah.
So those are cost prohibitive, but you can do a tote bag for $1.50.
$10 t-shirts are not with all t-shirts.
Yeah, so t-shirts are not going to enter into there.
Okay, so,
Do you want to propose a different budget?
yeah, why don't
A
you
grand.
why don't you make an amendment?
$1,000.
A grand?
Yeah,
Okay.
$1,000. This is going to be at the fair. The fair's going on for 5 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least.
And that kind of stuff, we're hoping, you know, at the fair, we're getting a lot of exposure, and my hope would be that we would at least break even on the merchandise. You know, we're not gonna make money based on that, plus the expense of the booth and, you know, the cost of the
It's
material.
not, the booth is not.
Right, I understand.
Not
So
committee.
our goal there is to reach out to the community.
Is there any bigger Republican committee that might donate swag?
That's possible. We could make some calls.
I think what, one of the things we can do too is to reach out to some of, there was several people at the CAGOP, for example, and maybe we can get their supplier, if they're willing, to give us, you know, we can buy some wholesale stuff.
Yes, good. That would be a.
That's what we're thinking to find out.
Maybe we could do a raffle or something like that.
Yeah, we could,
You know,
exactly.
Yeah,
This-
do a raffle, burn a Tesla. How about that?
That's not our
Throw a
side.
Molotov cocktail for $5,000.
And I just want to clarify too, this is, we have, it's technically events and outreach, so this is considered more of an outreach. We're not really trying to make money. What we are trying to do, we are trying to reach Republicans. We want to get our database, our email database, you know, more
Pumped up.
people pumped up. We'd love, it'd be great if we could get 10,000 people on our database. Because the more we can do that, the more we can reach them for the other events and fundraising that we are doing.
Drip campaigns through email that they hear from you every 6 weeks.
Yep. Okay,
All right.
so 1,000, the motion is.
Yeah. Oh,
is
wait,
1,000.
we're on the vote here. A discussion on the 1,000? Anyone? So I guess.
I second.
There you go.
Did someone move to make it?
Yeah, no one moved.
No, I thought so.
No, was it, or somebody made, she amended it.
Yes,
I
okay.
move for the amendment to $1,000 for the swag.
So that one has to be seconded,
Yeah.
because we already
I
voted
think,
on
I
it.
forget,
Yeah.
amendments have to be seconded.
So somebody has to second that.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Chris. So, any discussion? I guess we already had it on the 1,000, increasing it for items for the fair to sell.
I do have a question. I know we talked about this among the executive committee, but, you know, the former committee, they had buttons, they had bumper stickers, they had hats at the last, they had a bunch of stuff. And I know they didn't sell it or move it all, get rid of it. They had flags, they had,
It's
gone.
gets crowded.
it's
gone.
it's gone.
It's gone, we have lost the store.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Okay.
So,
I was joking earlier about the raffle, but a raffle is a good way
No, it is
to
good.
get people's contact information. So they fill out their contact information. If we make it a nice thing to raffle off.
Yeah.
I have to check on that. There were some specific rules with the fair about
Yeah,
that. I don't know if we can do
No, I
that.
think the hats have to be donations, not a sale.
I'll have to review that.
You have to have, if you are actually selling stuff.
Well, let's not, we'll talk about that later. Let's get back to the $1,000.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're right.
We have a motion and a second
Okay.
to approve the $1,000.
So, all in
any,
favor?
yeah, well, and say anyone opposed to the $1,000 number for fair items. Okay, with that, then, by unanimous consent, that passes. And the next item on the agenda is about recruiting, which is what we were
First
talking.
Dinesh. First Dinesh.
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 Number 6.
You really need some kind of tracker. You keep jumping around and it's driving me
I
crazy.
keep thinking we already went through all these, because we
No.
did.
You get
We
on.
went through
Dude,
different
my
topics.
OCD is going crazy.
Okay, so let's go through the Napa story again.
You need to like go through my meetings. Jeez. Sorry, it's driving me crazy, especially since like I'm on deck. So Napa, I am joining us with Napa GOP for an event that is pretty much guaranteed to sell out because I keep getting approached. I don't know how people are getting my email, but they're asking for tickets already, which is awesome. So the breakdown. General admission tickets are $125 each, VIP is $175, and there's going to be a luncheon that only Napa is doing, which is a $1,000 table for 4 people where you get to have lunch with Brandon and Dinesh. That's on them. For us, 100% sure, we are only going in for $5,000 total. We're sponsoring Brandon. $2,500 was the deposit. I already sent it to him because I talked to the exec committee. They were like, yes. So Brandon's contract is signed, the deposit is there, Brandon has bought his flight, awesome. The grand total package of this is $5,000. Yes, that sounds like a heck of a lot, but we are guaranteed to get the profit off of 100 of those tickets, whether they're VIP or general admission. That's still gonna be working out, but the lowest what we're gonna get out of this is $12,500. So we're spending $5,000, getting $12,500 back. So,
Good deal.
And I'm sorry, how much are the tickets again?
general admission is $125, VIP is $175, and for VIP you get a photo op, a pre-event seclusion room to talk with the speakers before the event.
How about a couple of tables, what you mentioned, you're not doing for the...
That's not on me, that's
The
Napa's.
VIP tables,
Sorry.
as you mentioned, VIP table is 1,000, right?
No. So the bruncheon that Novato GOP is putting on before our event, it's a brunch and luncheon thing.
Yeah.
I only found out about this today, so I'm still kind of fuzzy. It's 4 people to a table, $1,000 for the table.
Okay.
So it's not VIP or anything yet, though I'm thinking it's probably going to go that way, that the VIP tickets will be added on to the $1,000 table, because the lunch is going to be serious money. It's Napa going to the extreme.
Also, you're not getting involved.
That is not
You're
us.
getting those tickets.
That is, I just found out that Napa's just doing this brunch and luncheon thing.
So if we need to get for something per year, then we have to go that direct, right? So you don't benefit. We don't benefit as a...
No, the luncheon thing is not, we don't benefit from it. We're not selling the tickets, but it's, if you want to do, it would be the equivalent of 9 hours with Brandon and Dinesh, because the luncheon is going to be starting at noon and this event goes until 9. You can have 9 hours of Brandon and Dinesh if you want to fork out more money. But we're not doing the luncheon part, but it's part of
And
it.
Julie, the way the cash flows is you put out the $2,500 now, we start selling tickets, that pays the second $2,500, and then after that you get first money back to get yours paid off.
Exactly. So basically we will try to sell 100
Yeah.
If we don't, and Napa sells all 350 of theirs and they start selling into ours, we still get the
Yeah.
credit for 100 tickets. There's a no lose here because this is gonna sell out
Yeah,
like
we'll get
crazy.
some. We'll get them going.
So that's the whole proposal. If you have more questions, I know I put flyers out on a few of those. Sorry, Bianco canceled this morning, which kind of sucks.
Just email them, that will be simple.
So we're
Just email
guaranteeing
them.
$12,500.
Yes.
Thank you, Napa.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Napa. So don't think Napa's like getting away from this. Dinesh's fee was $20,000. The venue itself was another $5,000. Security is another $2,000. Napa is picking up that bill without any question. So we're getting this pretty damn cheap.
Great. Thank you, Julie.
So,
Great job.
so we need a motion for the 20, are we reimbursing 5,000 or 2,500?
Right.
2,500.
Point of information,
Yeah.
on our agenda, it still says the 1st, so we need to change that to the 9th. And
Yeah.
second
Right,
meeting-
that was earlier on.
We did that.
Right, okay, I saw it several places
It's printed a few times saying it's the first.
All right, moving on. Our participation is 5,000 in
Correct.
this event.
Correct.
Julie, you put up
2,500.
2,500 deposit.
Yep.
And the 2,500 that we're approving now
Or
is
additional 2,500.
to make up the difference for the 5,000.
Correct. So
Okay.
that,
And that is not due until we sell the tickets? That was my question.
until the day of.
It's not due until the day of, so
Correct.
we'll have the tickets sold by then.
Yeah,
They'll
exactly.
already be
So the tickets will
Alright.
probably sell
Then
almost.
she'll get reimbursed after the vendor.
Right.
Right, I am not asking for reimbursement right now, I'm waiting for the event, and if you think I'm not serious about this, I have gone to the Star Trek convention for 22 years
Yeah, I know
straight.
you're serious.
I am coming home early from that damn event to go to this one.
Oh, it's the same week.
It's the same freaking weekend, so I'm missing Shatner for this.
So,
Whoa.
Thanks, Julie.
That's dedication.
Well done. Well done.
live long and
We still need a motion to vote.
Yes, we need a motion.
Motion for the second 2,500. Can I make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
I'll make a motion, I just told Julie. She makes it.
What?
I make a motion that Julie pays the first 2,500. We start selling tickets as a committee for the second 2,500. Once we get to that 5,000 level, the money starts going back to Julie to pay her off her 2,500, and after that, it all comes to the committee.
Second.
Any opposed to that? So seeing no opposition, it passes unanimously, unanimous consent. Julie, thank you.
Good job.
That'll be something we can talk about. We can talk about that for a long time.
Nice work.
And just 6A, just so everyone knows, we're on a real slim diet on the funds that we have available. It's split up into 3 accounts. I'm not sure which account we're supposed to pay it from, but none of these expenses will be paid without the explicit approval of John and me. We really have to get our arms around
And
how we pay that stuff.
delete please from this line A, number 3, which is crossed out.
Yes, I'm withdrawing that.
Yeah, that's-
I want a
You
motion.
need to delete it from A, 2. From line A, please delete it 2.
Oh, well, okay, yeah. Technically, yeah, you're right.
Okay.
4 or 5.
Item number 7 gets back to, we were talking about earlier, is the future and membership and so forth. And the biggest thing we can do in the meantime, since we got nothing else to do, is try and recruit strong, vetted people for the committee to fill seats. You know, we had a few resignations right off the bat. They didn't want to participate, which was actually a positive thing for us. But now it's on us because, as somebody mentioned earlier, the Brunis guys in the city are going to start making an effort from what we hear to come over here and start filling the empty seats. And they're going to come in and be nice buddy-buddy, and all of a sudden you get here after a year and say, wait a minute, this isn't the right person. So it's up to us in the meantime to bring people in, introduce them, and I would say, this is just my feeling, is get people onto committees, have them work, see how they work with everybody, and it might take 2, 3, 4 months, 5 months, versus like it used to be, walk in and, fog a mirror, and if Jack thought he could, pull his wool over you, you're in. So this is just kind of a heads up on that as far as recruitment for members and for vacancies. Take a strict,
Is there any stipulation in the bylaws that the people on the committee must be Marin residents?
yeah, Marin and
Yes.
Republican.
Okay, so if they're coming over from
They
the
have to
city.
be on their district too.
Yeah.
Okay, but if they're coming over from the city, what's the fear there? That they won't be able to?
No,
There's-
just a state, it's just the law.
It happened once
State
last year.
election.
They
State election.
they brought in some guy from San Francisco, stuffed him in Mill Valley, just so he could be a member here. I don't even know if he's still living in Mill Valley. But,
Meaning
yeah.
he moved.
They-
So they're
Right.
recruiting, they're recruiting.
Well, they'll recruit people here to
Oh, they'll recruit
infiltrate,
people.
They will recruit him and move him here.
Yes.
So they're coming.
What does
Yeah.
it mean, stronger vetting?
What?
It says here, discuss stronger vetting.
Is that
What does
on-
stronger vetting mean?
Stronger
Vetting,
vetting.
this is what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
Better questioning of them to make sure that they are in alignment
What
with where.
questions are you gonna ask them?
Send them to Julie.
Where they live?
Just regular, how you doing
Did
questions.
you want me to rip them to shreds?
Mark?
I have no problem.
Yeah, so when we're talking about the recruiting website, I have three-fold question actually, which I'm confused.
No, let's talk about that later.
No, I'm talking about the recruiting,
Okay.
which you mentioned,
Yeah.
right? I meet a lot of people every day actually, okay? I myself confused because there is a website called Marine MCRA, right? Marine County Republican Assembly,
Right.
right? So
That's
that's what
another
we are vetting.
committee. No.
Then there is another one called Marine GOP Republican Committee,
Right.
that's this one.
Right.
So what is that Marine CRA then?
That's a conversation we can have at the end. There's a definite difference. But I don't want to take up something that's not on the agenda to go over this at the end, a new business, like we can get into it or stay after. Because it's important. It is important, I think.
Because I keep sending people to the MCRA. I
That's
meet a
fine.
lot of people here that I keep sending them to sign up there because I don't
You're
want
not
to take
wrong.
their numbers. I'm not anybody from that end, I just tell them go to this website.
Yeah. So we'll go over that at the end. Thank you. Which leads us to, it's number 8 on mine, but it might be 9 on others.
Number 9.
The resolution.
Yeah, this is a resolution to expel Jack Wilkinson, and there are a couple reasons for that. And where did it go?
He doesn't come to any of our meetings, that might be one.
One more is all it is. If he doesn't show up the next one,
He's out anyway.
He beat us.
He's out
He beat us to the
anyway.
punch.
You're right, you're right.
Okay, let me go ahead and read this. This won't take too long. This is a resolution to expel Jack Wilkinson for false testimony and irreparable harm to Marin GOP and Marin County Republicans. First, he failed to surrender MCRC records within 2 weeks after a written demand. He also failed to produce an audit that was required at the organizational meeting. He also, he went ahead and appointed a nominating committee, and all that was completed properly. Walter was named the chair. He filed a report. Everything was hunky-dory. He recommended some nominees for office. There were no other nominees at the organizational meeting. He started that meeting. It was kind of an honorable thing for him, or an honorary title to let him start the meeting. He inappropriately and abruptly adjourned the meeting and walked out under the false claim that he felt threatened. And he defamed this entire committee and every guest at that organizational meeting in public and in writing on several occasions. He continued doing it at the Cal GOP convention. And he gave false testimony, and they used that testimony to withdraw his delegate position, my delegate position, and 7 of his appointed delegates. We ended up losing 4 of those appointed delegates permanently. He then was able to appoint 4 more of his cronies that we couldn't get back. All we could scratch back this past weekend was his position and my position. We're still fighting to see if we can get 3 or 4 back. But anyway, he irreparably harmed this committee. Those delegates stay in position for 2 years. We can't correct this until the next organizational meeting. It's going to be spring 2027. And it's, for that reason, I want to subject him to expulsion. Now, what he's entitled to is, after hearing these accusations, he's going to get them in email and probably a follow-up mail copy. He will have a month to prepare a defense. He will have a hearing at the next meeting, and then we vote to expel him. It takes a 2/3 vote to get rid of him. And so,
I have a question, just a second. If we take roll call, and he's not here for roll call, and that's his forced absence, we won't get to vote on that then, right?
He's out.
He's out.
That was before meetings.
No, Jack was counted present at January 30th meeting.
So that will be his
Just because he
third.
left.
That will be his third.
That's
Okay, you're right.
I don't want him to resign because he missed meetings. I want to throw his can out. What he did was terrible. I want to humiliate the man, and I want to advertise it on our website, what he did to us.
All right.
It's unacceptable.
Just a point.
For Mark?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mark.
Thank you. Unfortunately, this man, Jack Wilkinson.
2 minutes, Mark.
You need to have. Jack Wilkinson was breaking the election law for a long time, for over the year. I pointed out at Chris' presence in July GOP meeting, that was the last meeting of all GOP I attended. I said you have to substitute, fill out the vacancies in District 2, which is empty, totally empty. And the response was from Tom Montgomery, to whom Jack forwarded to responding to me. He said, we have a larger fish to fry. And then I addressed this issue to our election department, because it's a breach of election law. Then they referred me to DA. I addressed it to our DA office. It was an investigation there, and the investigator referred me to Attorney General of the state of California, because they have no authority to run the case against the local government. And then when I applied to DA, to Attorney General, they referred me finally to the Secretary of State. And when I reached the Secretary of State, they said, yes, it's all gross violation, but it's effectively moot because in January they will be replaced anyway. So he is a persistent violator of election code of the state of California, and I ask you to include in accusation this straight fact.
Thank you.
I just wanted to point out that since Jack's not here, he will have less than 1 month of notification.
He only
to
needs
prepare,
14 days.
But he only needs 14 days. I just wanted to clarify that. Right.
All right, thank you.
Ron, question?
Yeah, Ron.
I wasn't involved with this, what is it called, PCC?
Which item?
No, I was just talking about, I guess you guys had a meeting with somebody at the Cal GOP about this, and
Yes.
did they review the video? Did they see the
One
video?
guy did, the one vote that was in our favor, he's the only guy that saw the video.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't like the,
They were all given it.
yeah, but only one.
Only one said, I saw the video, that didn't happen.
Yeah, okay.
And I ask another, it's different comment, because this punishment about frank talks is not sufficient. The damage has been done.
Mark, you had 2 minutes. You had 2 minutes. We'll move on. You can come
But
back.
it was only regarding.
He already has the punishment. We're set on what we're doing. If you want to come back next time, we'll do that. Okay, so for new business, Amar, you had something earlier? Or did you get?
Oh, yeah, I was asking about the websites, 2 websites, and how to recruit people or send people to join. There are 2 websites, right? And what's the difference between both of them?
Okay, so CRA started off as a vehicle for us to have a launching pad to basically do this. Because GOP was alienated, either kicking him off, alienating him, nobody wanted to go, the meetings were dead, the events were dead. So somebody said what about CRA? So we started CRA and all of a sudden people started coming. Our events got bigger, then our events got a lot bigger than theirs. Then we had the movement, and then everybody here is CRA. The executive committee, a lot of people out here are CRA. So that was what was going on the last year. I see it transitioning this now into more of a educational, maybe movies, speakers, politicians coming in to speak, and that kind of thing, and helping out with all of the work that we're going to be doing, to invite them in to be on the committees, maybe not necessarily a member, maybe an associate member or something, to be able to, to help Mark, to help with events, to help with whatever, to be a part of it, but they don't have to get into the business side of the GOP, because this is more the business, this is like a business meeting. This isn't a fun social meeting. And that's why, it's kind of, a bummer sometimes to have to say, no, get back on track. This is a business meeting, just like you're downtown San Francisco on the top floor, we're trying to do things efficiently. Now we go outside and have fun, or afterwards we have fun. So this is the business side. We'll have events, fundraising, and CRA is going to be parallel but different focus, like I was saying. Different movies, hopefully get the director, speakers, and politicians, authors to come through.
Yeah, there's some other, go ahead.
One more question.
Yeah.
What's the address at the top of this resolution? I'm not familiar with that address.
Oh, that's our lease that we had to get to qualify for an additional delegate.
No, that's here.
No, it's not, 904.
It's not
Maleta. That's, we rent space from Walter and Teeth.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's on the resolution. It's
Yeah.
I make a motion that we pass the resolution.
Oh.
Do we have to vote on that?
Yes,
I
we
make a
do.
motion that we pass the resolution.
I second.
Okay, a discussion. Any more discussion, just for members of business?
And I just clarifying, we're not expelling Jack, we're just
Starting
voting to approve the resolution, at which point next month he would.
Are we still on new business then?
Well, no, we're getting through this vote and then
Okay.
this. Yeah, I
I
jumped
didn't
the
realize we had to
gun.
have a vote for it.
Yeah.
Okay, so no,
Second.
okay, we already had a second. So anyone opposed to the resolution? Okay, with that, the resolution passes and will be put on the agenda for next month and set out in the meantime. Okay, new business. Ron, did you have something otherwise that you were saying, or did you get it?
I'm sorry, what?
On
He
new
asked
business?
about the address.
Was that just it for the moment?
No, I was asking about the address. Are we having new business?
Yeah.
It's a really expensive lease.
Joe, if I might, I just wanted to point out my own opinion about the MCRA versus the MCRCC.
Oh, okay.
The MCRA, shouldn't be necessary if the GOP did its job and represented the people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so the MCRA was created to hold the GOP's feet to the fire. This is my perception, okay? And they do not necessarily represent the voters, the registered Republicans of Marin. The GOP, the Marin GOP does. So we're here to do the business of the voters. The MCRA is there to hold our feet to the fire, as it were, to make sure we're doing the business of the voters. Okay, so that's the difference. Here's where the business gets done. This is where we need to recruit right now. And should we falter, the CRA better be there to hold us accountable.
CRA is part of a national organization as well, so it's state and national. And it's been around since before Reagan. It's been around a long time.
Yeah.
There's some other differences too. The Marin GOP is a political action committee. We have to file state and federal financial statements on a regular basis. I don't even think the MCRA doesn't even have a treasurer.
$125,000
Yeah, so that's it's a little more serious here than it is. I'm not saying the MCRA isn't serious, but they don't have to make all the.
This is the business side of things.
But you have access to both, right? All the data comes there. From the practicality part, when people sign up at the MCRA, this committee or the MCRA committee.
They're not connected. There's
They're
no
not
connection.
connected, they're not connected.
But a lot of people are members of both, and that's just normal. Okay. Elena.
What I wanted to say is because our once a month meetings are business oriented based on the agenda, I'm feeling a lack of being able to connect with all of us to almost have a mastermind group.
Right.
To share our ideas because, we read a few emails, a couple of group texts, not cutting it. there's so many good suggestions that we could implement. We can't do it here in this venue.
I agree.
So maybe we should, you know, not mandatory, but anybody who wants to be part of a mastermind over a couple of beers, some food, maybe, you know, sit there for an hour, hour and a half, and start bouncing the ideas off of each other, because I got a lot of good ideas, but there's not, this is not a place.
Outstanding idea.
So brainstorming sessions.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
so we,
mastermind with all our.
I mean, there are a couple of coffee groups, but a nighttime group, whatever. I think it's a
Yeah.
great idea. And, I mean, you could just literally put a post out, who wants to meet at 7 o'clock at wherever, or 5 o'clock, whatever it is. And
Yeah,
just
and
start,
with the
maybe 2
idea of,
people,
like, bringing in,
and maybe 3 people the next time, all of a sudden, you know, you start growing.
okay,
So I'd say just put something out and see what happens.
okay, on which group chat?
Whatever one you think
Make
has the
it
most.
up. Grab who you
So
want.
it's gonna be a new group chat?
Make your own.
All right.
Yeah.
Make your
Yeah.
own. and-
Yeah.
Okay,
It's your own party.
mastermind, GOP.
Yeah, good. Now, I think that's a great idea. Really pursue that, please. Mark?
New business. Joe suggested 2 days ago, bring it up as new business. And this is about an organization which has name Reform California. It's led by our California State Representative Carl DeMaio. And their election integrity approach totally fits with MASC approach, which I learned from attending MASC meetings when MASC was in place. MASC is the Marine Election Integrity Committee, which has been working until very recently. And I suggest our committee to consider and vote to support Reform California. They don't ask for a lot. They ask $5 from a person, and also they want us to work if we want. So if this committee, and this is for Chris especially because he will be leading MASC, Election Integrity Subcommittee in this committee, then I suggest to consider this, and not now, but for next meeting as a new business to vote for working together with Reform California. This is item number 1. If it's recorded, let's go to item number 2. It will, on April 5th, it will be mass event at Civic Center.
Nobody's supposed to hear that. Mark, that's 2 minutes, so we'll have to come back to you after. No.
When
It's
you
2
say
minutes.
new business,
2 minutes for-
business has 2
Yeah,
minutes, and
2
that's
minutes, yeah.
fair, I'm sorry. Every
Yeah.
business
It's
is
2
have to
minutes.
fair, not every speaker, because you.
Mark,
don't
you
need to-
spoke more than anybody tonight. You have spoken more than anybody tonight. We'll come back to you. We'll come back. Joseph, you had your hand up earlier?
I forgot what it was I was gonna mention about.
Okay, 2 minutes.
Well, they
2 minutes
spoke
is
over
all.
here, but the lady here that spoke about the t-shirts,
Elena.
hi Elena. It seems to me that if you make patches, then people can buy the patches and sew them on whatever t-shirt or sweatshirt they want. So then we get the wrong size and we don't get stuck with a whole lot of odd sizes of t-shirts or sweatshirts and things.
No one's gonna use patches. I do events every year. No one's gonna touch the patches, with all due respect. Yeah, there's certain things that move, certain things that don't. But thank you.
Aaron?
Yeah, so off of what Mark was saying about the Reform California, we actually sat in on the presentation that Bill Lasaley and Carl DeMaio gave at the convention. And it's, they're circumventing the legislature and they're gonna go to use petitions and get this on the ballot. There's a lot of money involved. There's promises being made by the money bags in California to support if they can raise a certain amount. I intend on reaching out to be a liaison, sort of, to get the petitions and communicate anything that they have for the people who are wanting to support it. However, today, Trump signed an executive order, an election integrity executive order requiring voter ID, one-day voting. So I'm not quite sure how this, and then penalties for states who don't comply. So they'll be taking funding away from the states that count ballots after election day, that so I'm not quite sure how this is going to impact the reform movement that DeMaio and Azalea have been promoting. I don't know, I mean, an executive order is an executive order, so I'm not quite sure if it's even going to make it to the ballot.
Okay, thank you.
Let's hope they make our election integrity efforts obsolete.
Jim, one comment on that. The federal government has very little say on how states run their elections.
I didn't say that.
I'm just making that observation.
They're just going to take our money, and that has the tendency to influence and inspire them to comply. It's inspirational.
I just got 2 minutes.
Okay, sorry, I always like to get it recorded because I have people I always send the message to. So I am here for 2 purposes and I want to ask a question. Sorry, I am here for 2 purposes and I want to ask questions on how and what are we supposed to do. Number 1, I am here for the Auckland and Berkeley can be coming together, that I'm going to be bringing everybody together and we decided we're going to be having meetings Thursdays and probably Sundays, at least Thursdays. We'll be having meetings together to know what we're supposed to do. And secondly, I'm the one coordinating for Global Republican supporters, which will have people like in Africa.